You're listening to Death of the Reader. Flex and Herds here with you for your Murder Mystery World Tour. And Herds, it's that time. The final book for our 2020 run of Death of the Reader.
We've been doing this for 2 years. This is too long. That's not true.
Herds,
not long enough. Let's double it.
You've challenged me to this book. What is it? What am I up against?
Yeah, this is the Honjin murder case, written in 1937, I believe, but only translated like within the last 2 years. It's been a long time coming.
That was very surprising to me.
Yes,
because
it's so
this
well known.
is so Western.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically the pitch of this novel is that Seishi Yokomizo is a traveling writer who goes around finding real murder mysteries that actually definitely totally happened.
Really happened.
And I am going to share them with you, my dear readers. And Herds,
Flex.
the mystery in this one.
I know. Tantalizing.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've had this screen pulled up to my left here in the studio.
Uh-oh.
With, highlighted on it, no hitherto undiscovered poisons may be used, nor any appliance which will need a long scientific explanation at the end. Herds, Device X is making its unwelcome return to Death of the Reader thanks to Seishi Yokomizo.
You haven't finished the story. You don't know anything, but if there were a Device X, I would challenge you to try and figure out what the heck it is.
Oh, is that going to be the second point then, Herds?
Maybe.
Okay,
but if you believe that it'd be a Device X, I'm really going to hammer you on the how in this one. I think the who, I don't think you'll have any trouble getting the who in this one.
Okay.
You know, whatever. Just it's arbitrary.
We'll
really.
see how things go next week. But I'm actually pretty torn on the who.
Okay,
we'll see. But the how. Okay, here's the how.
It sounds like, Flex, you're being very prejudiced towards Device X, which I'm not a fan of. I will go on record saying that of all the Device X's that I've encountered, I think this one is the most reasonable.
You will be hearing from me, Mr. Cummings. With the help of the God of Justice and my colleague Dr. Watson, I will give you a case that will make England ring. Mr. Dunbar, you have my assurance that the clouds are lifting and that the light of truth is breaking through. Come, Watson, come. We need our good friend, Sergeant Coventry, a ball of stout twine, and a grappling hook.
Grappling hook?
Watson, I have some recollection that you go armed on these little excursions of ours.
Just as well for you that I do. More than once, my revolver has been a good friend to you. You have little care of your own safety.
Yes, I am inclined to be absent-minded in these matters. Do you have your revolver on you? It's heavy. Remarkably heavy.
Solid bit of work.
You know, I believe this is going to have a very intimate connection with the mystery that we're investigating. Would you mind unloading it? Will you be at home this evening, Mr. Gibson? I should have some news for you.
You have half a day, Mr. Holmes.
You have seen me miss my mark before, Watson. I have an instinct for such things, but it has sometimes played me false. We can but try. Will you both tell exactly where the body lay? Your theory about the Gold King, though admirable in its psychology, did not quite adhere to the facts. Visualize yourself in the character of a woman who, in a cold, premeditated fashion, is about to get rid of a rival. I mean, of course, Mrs. Maria Gibson. For all your deductions about Gibson being the perpetrator of this crime, substitute his wife. Imagine that it was she who took the pistols from the gunroom, who fired the single shot in the woods, who placed the gun in Miss Dunbar's wardrobe. Cold, crafty, premeditated, down to the last detail. Now for it. Was it ever a more exact demonstration?
My revolver, Holmes.
A vindictive woman. A creature of the tropics, passionate, ill-balanced.
Disguising her own crime and fastening a charge of murder upon an innocent victim. You have helped a remarkable woman, Holmes, and a formidable man.
And if, as seems not unlikely, they should join forces?
Naturally, I would wish them well.
Magnanimous of you, Watson.
And so Sabro was sent off to fight in a war against China and died. And that's it. He's in essence, he's our antagonist in the novel.
The interesting thing is that just nothing happens as a result of this crime. Nobody is punished. Nobody is held accountable because the culprit is already dead. His conspirator really has kind of nothing in his way.
They don't have a satisfying conclusion, and that is by far the biggest problem with this novel.
Yes. And that's kind of the other problem with this book is, as we were saying last week, the characterizations just disappear the moment we start getting into the thick of the mystery.
Yep.
The last part of this novel reads like the solution papers to a better murder mystery. Because we're just dealing with the puzzle. We're not worrying about the character. It's like, for example, if you were to look up an online guide for a puzzle, this is what you would find.
Yeah. It's a shame, again, that this novel, it takes so many, preliminary steps correctly. Like, it has this huge character list with all of the different family members and the servants and the other family. But that's kind of the problem, is that we've got this setup of, like, here's 20-odd characters, but then none of them have anything to do. Grandma says, oh, no, my grandson has, or my son, whatever. She's a grandma character, doesn't matter. My son has been stabbed. He's been murdered. And it's like, oh, is that a clue? Is that, like, something that we should pay attention to? Never addressed.
No.
Oh, Rusuke is the one who's like breaking down the door. Maybe they'll accuse him in a later scene. That'll add to the drama of the scene. Doesn't happen.
Nope.
Like, none of these additional characters are given any additional spotlight or tie into the murder of the story. It's really just one mastermind and one murderer and one or more victims.
In fairness to the puzzle, as we'll get into in the last part of the show, does allow you to solve a device X.
Yeah, for sure.
which
sure.
on a technical level
It's interesting.
is kind of an achievement, but it's not an achievement that I wanted.
Yeah.
The Three-Fingered Man is, again, an example of a character that's just completely lost to the mess of a puzzle that is put together.
Well, yeah.
But I did kind of like that they put him in as a sympathetic victim to an otherwise kind of...
Well, but he's not a victim, though. Like, the Three-Fingered Man's reputation is on the line, so to speak. But, of course, that's what ties into why the mystery doesn't make a lot of sense when we pan out the camera. Who thought this would work? Trying to pin a crime on a dead man who is very easily identifiable by the picture that you use to plant evidence. It's madness.
Yeah.
It's madness.
The thing I do like, though, is that he is kind of a victim in a way that is parallel to the thematics of the story, which is what every other part of this puzzle was missing. So his reputation is destroyed by these reputation-obsessed wealthy people, and that is a very thematically nice tie-over to the whole concept of the motivation of this murder. It's a shame that it's a little buried, pun intended, because I think that there was actually there could have been a really nice moment to go there and speak with his mother instead of just sending a police officer off. The 3-chapter-long monologue of how this crime was done. Like, could it have been any more exhausting? I don't think so.
I think that you figured it out. We don't need this much time to go over the facts over and over again, right?
Yeah.
Like, we don't need it.
So I think as far as implementations of Device X go, it is compelling.
Well, that's the most baffling thing, isn't it? That just adding a little bit more about the family and giving us something to latch onto there because, there are all these characters and none of them really matter. And yet it's a short book. I think if anything, it's useful for other murder mystery writers
definitely.
to see not just the tricks used in this book, but also he's written his own little footnotes and encyclopedias of or references. He's inserted references into his essay about murder mystery fiction.
Yeah.
You can look at all these novels that he's mentioned in the book and see how they've done it better or worse depending on your perspective, and sort of see where that inspiration is coming from. So I think for authors, people getting into writing or even just critiquing and deconstructing murder mysteries like us, like, it's great. It's good for that.